here said that the Liberals do not have a climate plan to reduce emissions. So let's have a listen, and I will fact check him. And the expert in greenhouse gases, Stephen Guilbeault, I'll check him too. Let's have a listen to these two guys.
8 years, not only is the Prime Minister not worth the cost, he still does not have a climate plan. He said that if Canadians paid his carbon tax, it would save the world, but here are the facts. Canada now ranks 58th out of 63 in climate action. Canada is the only G7 country not to have reduced its emissions below 1990 levels. The Prime Minister has missed 7 of 8 of his targets over the last decade. And finally, according to a bombshell report by his own Environment Commissioner this week, he will not hit his 2030 Paris Accord targets. Mr. Speaker, why won't the Prime Minister just admit he doesn't have a climate plan, he has a tax plan?
Make the rules here, but it's the Climate Change Performance Index from COPA 27, like whatever that is. Okay, let's go down here. Look, here's the ranking, number 1, 2, 3. I have no idea whether they're blank. I don't make the rules here. Where's Canada? Like way here. Ooh, they suck. That sucks. Canada, number 58. So that's true. On the Climate Change Performance Index, Canada is 58th. Okay, that's what I see. Now the next one, greenhouse gas emissions, because we're here anyways. Where's Canada? Where's Canada? Canada. Look at that. Oh, Canada. Ooh, 57th. There, Canada. It's way down here, 57th. So Canada sucks that. Very low. Emissions, greenhouse gas emissions rating, overall score. So, yeah, very low. They don't do very well. Okay, what's the next one here? Renewable energy rating. Wow. Okay, who's doing great? Renewable. Look at that. Norway, Sweden. Where's Canada? Brazil. Blah 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 blah. Canada 52. Ouch. See way down there? 52. Very, very low. So, yeah. Energy use. Well, it doesn't matter. You know what? So he is factually correct. Canada is 58th right here. 58th out of 63. Like, talk about the worst of the worst. Yeah, they didn't do anything. So it's right. Next.
Climate action. Canada is the only G7 country not to have reduced its emissions below 1990 levels.
That was reduce greenhouse gases before 1990 levels. Let's have a look here. USA, you can see that number at the bottom. They did reduce it. This is Japan. You see it did go down to 1182. That is correct. They did reduce it. Look in the bottom, 784 for Germany. They also reduced it, and that was a lot. France, they did reduce greenhouse gases. Let's look at the next one here. UK, they did, and that's a lot actually, reducing greenhouse gases. Italy, yes, it is from 513 to 394. And finally, Canada, we did not reduce any greenhouse gases ever. So that is factually correct. Canada has increased greenhouse gases. That's correct. Let's go on to the next one.
The Prime Minister has missed 7 of 8 of his targets over the last decade. And finally,
well, this is factually incorrect because Canada has never met any emissions targets ever. Let's do the next one.
According to a bombshell report by his own Environment Commissioner this week, he will not hit his 2030 Paris Accord targets. Mr. Speaker, why won't the Prime Minister just admit he doesn't have a climate plan, he has a tax plan?
Canada has never met any target, and by 2030 they will not meet anyone anyways. It doesn't really matter. Let's listen to Stephen's reply to these allegations.
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, what the Leader of the Opposition is saying in this House is factually incorrect.
You know, I proved all 4 points. They were all correct. They were all factually correct. Every single one from real data around the world. So let's listen to what he has to say.
Facts. We have the best performance in terms of greenhouse gas reduction since 2019, Mr. Speaker.
You see on the far right, the four columns, 2022, 21, 20, and 2019. That's what he's talking about, the greatest drop. That means that Canada's economy shut down the most, what it is. And now you can see there's more carbon greenhouse gases, so it's actually higher than it was before 2019. That's what he's failing to mention. He just looks at the 4 years of, not even 4, 3 years, 2018, 19, 20, and maybe 2021, that has gone down the most. I find this insulting that is his talking point, that he's taking credit for COVID. Let's have a look at the next example from him.
Fact, we have a plan that has been applauded by environmental organization, research organization, municipalities, even oil companies have applauded our climate plan, Mr. Speaker, and this...
No companies applaud his plan. None, zero. No oil companies, nobody. The only applauding is that they stopped sticking their nose in everyone's business because it was illegal. So this is factually incorrect, and he is lying. I don't know what companies, you can throw your mouth off as much as you want here. There are none. And I suspect what's going on is that, the green plan, the money goes into some fund, and somebody writes something somewhere in some PDF somewhere that nobody ever looks at. And that's where he's getting it from. But he's reading a piece of paper, but there are none. Zero. He's lying.
Morning in the Environmental Committee, the Commissioner to the Environment and Sustainable Development said that not only pollution pricing is working, but it is responsible for 30% of emission reduced in Canada since 2019. Thank you, Mr.
30% reduced since 2019. That data right there is from the European Commission on greenhouse gases. 30% on like 800 is like 240 metric million tons or whatever that calculation is. None of it exists. It does not exist. There's no such thing. 8% maybe, but it's all COVID again. Like, he's taking credit for a pandemic. And once again, I find that very insulting that he does it. I'll have a look at that Commissioner for Environmental and Sustainable Development, but the guy breaks up the report up into 10 PDFs. I find it, I think that Stephen throwing his mouth off on these facts, or what he thinks are facts, on the PDF stuck somewhere on a government website, it's insulting. He needs to say what person and exactly where it is, and he doesn't have that information because I don't like him, but I think he's just a flat-out liar. He's just a liar, and I'm not sure if he's doing it on purpose or he's just ignorant. I don't know which one it is, but he is not, something's not there. Okay, let's listen to the last part of this.
Speaker. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
It's funny that he keeps focusing on 2019 and the year that followed, because that year was the only year in which emissions went down because the economy was locked down, Mr. Speaker. In every other of the 8 years this Prime Minister has been in power, he has missed his emissions targets. He now ranks 58th out of 63 nations. He leads the only country in the G7 that has not reduced its emissions below 1990 levels. And his own environment commissioner says he will not hit his Paris targets. So, will they finally admit that after 8 years, this carbon tax is all pain and no gain?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Unfortunately, what the Leader of the Opposition is saying is still factually incorrect, because we haven't missed any of our targets. The only we haven't missed any of our targets. The only target we have is for 2030.
Dude, you missed every single target in the last 20 years. These are just the news articles on there too, or the cords that they have with the targets that were set on their actual data here. If you look at the targets, so that means in 2007, was it 2007, they make a target to reduce emissions by 20% below 2006 levels by 2020. Missed the target. They missed every target. Now, this is, when you look at it like this, the target in 2007, they were off, because they said in 2007 we predict what it'll be in 13 years, and they were off by 16%. So 2 years later, there's another target, and it's off 18%. And now 2015, the target's off 24%. So the closer they get to the target date, the more extreme and the more off the target becomes, because crap's hitting the fan and they realize that it's not happening. So, you can make a target, I don't know, 2200, year 2200. It doesn't really matter. There's no plan to do it. They have no idea. Technology, I think, will do it. And some mini nuclear ones too, or stop coal. But Canada's nothing in this whole scheme of things. Canada's failed every one. Going back to Stephen, he lied. Flat out lied. And, he is a snake oil salesman slimeball. I think Pierre should just call him out and say, you know what? If we did meet the targets, then show the data. Next time, go in your little, I don't know, wherever you go and produce the data, because he's flat out lying. And he lies a lot, that guy. And actually, a lot of liberals there too. So anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great day.
Target we have is for 2030. Canada has missed many targets because for 10 years, the Conservative Party did nothing to fight climate change. They did nothing to support clean energy. They did nothing to support electrification of transportation. They did nothing on adaptation, Mr. Speaker. That's why Canada's been missing our targets. This government, this Prime Minister, we will meet our targets. We're 85% to our 20 targets already, Mr. Speaker.